Welcome into Comics Corner. I'm Eric Stafford, and today we're going to talk about something that's coming up big, and everybody's excited about it, and that is Superman. Now, if you're not familiar with Superman, which how can you not be? He's like Mickey Mouse. Everybody knows who Superman is, so that's just one of those things. But coming up in July of 2025 is the new James Gunn-helmed movie of Superman. And James Gunn has taken over the DC universe as far as the movies go. And this will be his first big movie that will get out there. I mean, he directed the last Suicide Squad, the one with the shark and the giant starfish. Remember that one? Anyway, he directed that one. And so they put him in charge of the DC universe. Now, his pedigree, if you're wondering about this, is he had done the Peacemaker series, which was on Max and HBO, and then he had, which is a DC universe thing, but he had also done the Guardians of the Galaxy films for Marvel. So everybody likes his movies pretty good, and so, you know, he's kind of got a little creative zest there, and people are really liking it and going and looking forward to it. Now, the trailer dropped for the new Superman movie, and people were very excited about it. And the biggest thing that got the biggest reaction over anything was Crypto, the super dog, and people just loved that. And anyway, take a look, and we'll come right back. Well, because of all this excitement, and definitely because of the trailer, it got me excited again about Superman. Now, I've kind of been a Superman fan in my life, but not like terribly. It's not been a big thing. I mean, when the Christopher Reeves movies come out, especially 1 and 2, I was really big into it. The third movie come out with Richard Pryor, and I detested it as a kid. And I was just like, I can't believe they did something this stupid with Superman. They had a great chance to do it. So when Superman 4 come out, The Quest for Peace, even though Christopher Reeve had something to do with it, as far as the writing and the getting rid of all nuclear weapons and all that stuff, I know enough about it, but I still haven't seen it. Not all the way through, and people have told me I haven't missed anything, but maybe I need to do that, especially before July shows up, so I kind of at least have that going on. But because of seeing this trailer and being so excited about this movie, it really made me love Superman. Now, the last movie I saw that I really liked Superman-wise, I did like the Man of Steel, but I hated some of the things in it because, spoiler alert, it's been a while. In Man of Steel, he has to kill General Zod, which Superman doesn't kill. That's one of his things. It's a big thing. And he broke his neck, and he didn't need to do that. I mean, he did to save the family, but because he was using his heat vision. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but he's using his heat vision, and he's going to try to fry this family in front of Superman. Superman's got him in like a chokehold, and he has to break his neck to keep him from burning up the family, which Superman probably would do, but he would think of something better than just breaking his neck. He would think of something else, because Superman is also incredibly super smart. So he would think of something other than that, maybe focusing his eyes on something that like burnt him, you know, focus the eyes over onto a mirror and then bounce the heat vision back and hit them both or something, and at least stun him or get him out of that situation. There would have been some other way, but people love the Zack Snyder stuff. There's a lot of stuff I love about Man of Steel, but it is a lot darker, and Superman's kind of about hope and things being hopeful and cheery. And it come out, Superman originally started in 1938. It was during the Great Depression, and he was a champion of the people. He was somebody that was like trying to help people and do things that were uplifting and in a depressing time, and so perfect for today. And so it would be something to cheer us up and make us feel hope again. And that's what Superman was all about. It was a little science fiction because he's supposed to be the man of tomorrow. He's supposed to be super smart. So you have all of those things. But, Man of Steel was not my favorite. There's a lot of great visual effects, and I do love Henry Cavill in the part. But I am looking forward to the new Superman movie. Now, that being said, because of the trailer, because of the excitement, I went to my local comic shop and picked up some dollar books, and I was flipping through them, and you're not going to believe what I found. Come across this at the local comic shop, and usually you don't see, especially in this day and age, I mean, we're talking about a book, a 15-cent book, it just tells you right there, but this is Superboy, The Adventures of Superman when he was a teen. And this is October, issue 160, 15 cents, and great Neil Adams cover, which you're not going to find that. But it's in rough shape. It's just in good condition. It's a reader copy. That's what you'd call it. But it was in the dollar box over at Timmy Mac's, and I was just so excited to see it because I grew up reading Marvel. And Marvel was at my newsstands, and that's what I read. But Superboy and Superman and those things, they came through, but for some reason in this area, in Lenore, growing up, all the DC books tended to be more at the drugstores, like Davalt's or Foothills Pharmacy. And it was more at those places that had the comics. But at the convenience stores, it was around here. It was more Marvel. Now there was some DC. I'm not going to kid you, but sometimes DC overall, as a kid, looked a little boring next to Marvel and what Marvel had going on at the time. So I tended to go more that route. Now I had friends that read both, and I tried to read both, but I tended to lean more towards the Marvel books. But now that I'm older and I've read all this stuff, I'm really finding that I missed out on some of the DC stuff, so I'm trying to go back. So for $1, you can't beat Superboy with a Neil Adams cover. And from, let's see what the exact date is, because it had to be the early 70s. And it is exactly, as I have to dig out my glasses because I have my contacts in. It's from 1969. So this is October of 1969, Superboy, The Adventures of Superman when he was a boy. And which it has, this one in particular has some actual great stuff to it. Pencils by Bob Brown, inks by Wally Wood. Wally Wood's a friggin' legend. And Frank Robbins did the story. Now, Frank Robbins, I don't know if you know him or not, but he was the guy that drew The Invaders. Had a very particular style that was very Steve Canyon kind of newspapery style. But he wrote a lot, too, and he wrote a lot of Batman, and he apparently wrote this Superboy as well. I don't know what his run was on Superboy, so because, like I said, I'm slightly ignorant on this side of the fence. But anyway, I did read... I chose Eternal Exile, which is the Superboy story, and that's in here. And so it's got good artwork. It's good. It's clean, but it's definitely going to be clean with Wally Wood inks on it. And a lot of people don't realize it, but Wally Wood had a lot to do with Power Girl, who Power Girl is like Supergirl on Earth 1, and he has a lot to do with her look. I do like that there's a color error here where Superboy changes his shirts white. They didn't catch that. It's kind of funny. But anyway, this Egyptian girl comes to Superboy's class in Smallville, and him and Lana Lang are like, kind of... Lana Lang's getting upset because the Egyptian girl is flirting with Superboy and Clark Kent at the same time. So, but anyway, it's a quick little adventure. It's it's a little more, because it was the teenage stories. It was more like Archie. It had more of a high school feel. And that, now this was a dollar book, so this is normally like a $10 to $20 book, and there you go. This is what you get for a reader copy, is that right there. somebody had tore an ad out of it or something. But it is kind of interesting to see that. But it's a reader copy. That's what you want it for. You're not missing any of the story. And here we go on through as Superboy feels like he has accidentally killed the Egyptian girl, and so he must live in exile. He must go hide. And so he goes to live on the moon to stay away. And because how could Superboy kill somebody? This is going back to the Man of Steel stuff I was talking about. But anyway, come to find out that she's not really an Egyptian girl. She's a mummy. So the guy had brought her back to life, and she was an ancient mummy. So she had been dead for almost 2,000 years. So Superboy didn't actually kill her. She was just dead on her own. I guess of old age. But anyway, and look at this. This is crazy. It wouldn't happen today. This crazy layout where it just kind of ends. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to go over some of the Superman pickups and a little bit of Superman talk. Got great ads on here for the Aurora model kits. The glow-in-the-dark Aurora model kits. I love those things when I was a kid. Now, my first Superman story that I remember picking up and buying was this, which is Superman 295. And Superman can do everything, but he can't defeat the time mat. He can't defeat time. And one of the things that Superman has a fallen with is he can't deal with magic. So, but this looks like a Kurt Schaffenberger cover. And I just love that kind of stuff. But this is the issue I think about when I think about Superman in my mind. Also, by the time I got to high school and college was when John Byrne left Marvel to do Superman and do the Man of Steel. And I happened to pick this up at Ollie's. They had it on sale for like $16, and happened to pick that up. And it's part of the John Byrne series of Superman. Now, at that time, they decided to make all four, I don't know if you know this or not, but Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man all have a consistent thing that there is one issue of each of their magazines coming out once a week. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's so you have Action Comics with Superman in it. You have Superman. You have I think they do Man of Steel now. But basically, you end up having a Superman book out every week of the month, except for maybe if the month has 5 weeks in it, then you might have a special come out or an annual or something like that. But that's how the comic books market actually works. But there's only a few characters that happens with, and it's Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. And they all have some kind of book come out each week. You know, Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, or Amazing Spider-Man, or just Spider-Man. It'll be slightly different titles. But what they started doing with Man of Steel was tying all four of those books together. So they had continuing stories that would go across with different artists drawing it, different writers, and they would say, okay, here's the general plot, but this, so that when it chronologically came out, that this one comes out once this week, then the next week, then the next week, and you picked them all up, then it was all one continuous story, and so it didn't really throw you off. But John Byrne left Fantastic Four to come to DC and revamp the Man of Steel, and that was the miniseries that he originally did of Superman, and then he was kind of in charge. Look at that great John Byrne artwork. But he was kind of in charge of that. This is volume 3 of the Man of Steel Chronicles. Now, other artists that was involved: Jerry Ordway, Carl Kessel, John Beatty, all these guys, great guys. And of course, it starts off with a Art Adams annual, with Arthur Adams annual, and just that kind of world's finest kind of cover with Batman and Superman. That's what they always called the Batman-Superman team-ups. But look at this great Arthur Adams little girl running in the swamp, little southern girl running in the swamp, Bayou girl. And but just great artwork that's in here. And of course there's a twist, you know, why is she there? What's going on? But great Art Adams art in this one. and just happened to pick it up at Ollie's. Ron Friends, great Ron Friends, drawing Superman. Just really cool, very Kirby-esque, a lot of motion to his. I mean, look at that. Look at Superman throwing that hunk of building at that gorilla. It's just like crazy. The crazy action in there. And then, you know, here you go. Dan Jurgens did this one, who is still tied with Superman and very well known as a Superman writer now. But this is back just before the Death of Superman stories that come out. This is when they'd revived Superman, and I think he doesn't die until like Superman 25 or something like that. But great John Byrne artwork, great storytelling, and it makes me want to pick up the rest of this series because there are only 4 of these hardback books, and they had this one at Ollie's in Hickory, and so I was happy to pick that up. Also picked this one up, The Oz Effect, which is part of the new stuff, and I just love that cover. It's got this lenticular cover of Superman busting free from kryptonite, and I just always thought that was a great cover, and so much so that I went to hunt down the artists that did this to see who they were, because it was just such a great cover. This is part of the new continuity that's going on right now, and Jor-El is actually Mr. Oz, who has been tormenting Clark Kent and his family for some time. But that cover, that great cover with the lenticular artwork, I started following that artist on Instagram because it is just such good art, and I was just like amazed at that. But anyway, it goes through, and this is the current artist and that, which you have Gilliam March, who's drawing it, and great artist here. This was a time period Luthor has kind of got a super suit and claims to be his own version of Superman, which is kind of unique. He gets a little mind control and actually goes after Superman because they kind of have a peace going on right now. But yeah, Superman is hope. I mean, that's what Superman is known for, is hope. But anyway, great pickups. Looking forward to Superman. I hope you have like some Superman stuff that you're looking forward to. Definitely July 11th when the movie comes out. It's going to be something. It's going to be a lot of fun anyway. But catching up on my reading, and I've also hit up Lenore Library, Caldwell County Library. You go to your Caldwell County Library, they have plenty of Superman books there. I've been picking some of those up, but I happen to pick these up and purchase these. But if you don't want to buy them, hey, you can go and check them out for a week or two. Anyway, thanks for turning into Comics Corner. I'm Eric Stafford, and I hope you have a great, great comic book day.